Hey guys, welcome back to Double D's RCs. I'm Don if you're new to the channel. I haven't been posting for a little bit just because I've been out driving and just enjoying life. But I'm going to make a video today. What we're going to do is install some metal stuff on the Traxxas Slash 4x4. Wow, that's beautiful. Some turnbuckles, camber, toe links, and what's in this bag here is like the bearing carriers, caster blocks, all that kind of stuff. So let's see what we can come up with here. Alright, sorry for all the background noise. I'm running a dehumidifier out here in the garage in my workshop because it gets pretty fucking humid in the spring and summertime, and I'm sick of it, so I'm running a dehumidifier. But I apologize for that background noise there. So I bought this kit online, some generic Chinese crap, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Because to be quite honest with you, it was like a third of the price compared to Traxxas. I would prefer Traxxas stuff, but I would also prefer to have money in my bank account. So we'll see what it came with and if it was worth it and if it works. So yeah, looks like it came with all the bearings, some body clips for some reason. I have no idea why it came with body clips, but whatever. A couple of sleeves for the front. I mean, these look pretty nice, I guess. I don't know. We'll just have to try them out and see. I mean, as long as the tolerances are okay, I don't see why it would be an issue, really. Looks like pretty decent. Alright. So first, I guess we'll do the back end. That's probably going to be the easier of the two. So yeah. So I put 17 millimeter hub adapters on this thing because I wanted to run some sort of like buggy wheels. So I have to take those off. But what I found is they're with this wheel combination that I have here, the 17 millimeter wrench doesn't fit properly onto the wheel itself. So what I have to do is take off the actual center sleeve from the stub axle, or from the drive shaft in the rear, in order to get the tire off. Now what you're supposed to do is take this nut off and this whole thing stays on the truck, but like I said, a socket won't fit around this based on the way the rim is positioned, and a wrench won't fit in there. It's kind of just a pain in the ass setup. So I just take off the center piece and pull the whole assembly off. It's easier for how this particular rim is set up. Next, we're going to take off the wheel hex, I do believe it's called. I just take a flathead, take that off. There's going to be a little pin here. Take that out. I'm going to drop down this bar here, which is a turnbuckle or camber link for the rear. that out of the way. Now this should be able to pivot down. You move your drive shaft off to the side. You're going to want to make sure you don't lose your spacers. Next, you're going to grab a 2.5 millimeter hex head. I'm going to take that off this hinge pin. And then this whole thing comes out. And I'm going to grab my new one. I'm going to compare the two. They appear to be very similar. I'm going to pop in a couple of bearings and then reassemble it. A couple of things I'm noticing already. So, oh shit. Alright, so look at this here. I don't know how good this is going to show up on the camera, but well, for one, the bearings are definitely loose in there. I don't think that's really that big of a deal. But this outer one, it's probably going to be hard to see on the camera, so I apologize. But it sticks out past, and yes, my nails are like 10 feet long. I haven't cut them in a few days, so I apologize. Ah, God. But anyway, yeah, so this bearing kind of protrudes a little bit past the housing, so we're going to see if that has any effect on performance. I hope not. So now we're just going to reassemble. I'm going to put this hinge pin back in. Maybe. Okay, that seems to fit pretty decent. Alright, now we're gonna put the drive shaft back in. Put our spacer back on. I dropped one on the floor, so I'll be right back. Okay, I found the other spacer somehow. I also found a screw down there, which is pretty sweet, and a hollow ball for something. So yeah, you never know what you're gonna find on the ground. Alright, so I got the two spacers on. This particular one had two. I got this little pin back through, and now I'm gonna put the wheel hub back on. Make sure it clicks on. Seems to be okay. It's pretty, I guess that might be a little excessive. Jesus. Well, whatever. I'm gonna try it anyway. While I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and replace this back camber link, and hopefully that's a little bit better fit than the other one. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of match it up out of the set that they gave me. I think it's going to be this one here. So it's almost a direct fit. So all I got to do, since I already removed the one side, is I have to remove the other side up here. While I have it off, I'm going to go ahead and look and see the size difference. So I'm going to bring this one out a little bit, and just because it's gonna have to. I don't want to have to adjust it on the car. If I can get it close to adjustment before I even get it on there, it'll be a little easier. Now, when you're doing this for the first time, you're gonna spin one way to come out, the other side you're gonna spin the other way to come out, so don't get confused by that. But if you do, it's alright, you'll figure it out. So now they're very similar in length, so I'm just gonna go with it. Now I just have to put these back on, one screw up top, one screw at the end, and then essentially the wheel can go back on at that point. One side note is I'm going to use this thread seal or thread lock, the blue one. I don't want it to be permanent. This is removable. The red one is more permanent, but I'm using it just because I'm going to be putting a metal screw into a metal piece on the car. I don't want it to back out on me while I'm out driving around, so I'm going to do metal on metal, and I'm going to use some thread lock. So just keep that in mind if you're going to do these same kind of changes to your truck. Okay, so there you have it. Those two pieces are installed. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, but I'm not going to film it. It's just a mirror image, but on the other side of the truck. Alright, so now we're going to do the front. Similar setup as the rear as far as you do have to take off these wheel hubs. So you just take a screwdriver and kind of pry them out. It's going to be a hub. It's a pin that holds the hub to the drive shaft, and then there's probably going to be a spacer or two. I'm going to take all that stuff off and keep it separate. Alright, so now this whole assembly has to come off, so I'm going to just take it apart. So there's a screw on the upper turnbuckle, which is your camber link, and then you have to go in through the front here, which is kind of a pain in the ass. I have sway bars on this thing, and it's just kind of hard to reach. You have to do a little bending of the plastic, like the bumper and stuff, to get in there. Once you get that screw out on the inside, you can take this whole arm out. Next, you're going to grab your 2.5 millimeter wrench, and we're going to go through the top. There's a top screw here. This is like a shoulder screw. So it's got a little shoulder on there. There's another one on the bottom. Take that guy out. Now these you won't be reusing if you're going for the same parts that I have, because the new ones come with a like a little brass bushing instead of a shoulder screw. I have to take this pin out here. Looks like a 2.5 millimeter also. This is your hinge pin. And then this whole assembly comes off. This is the new one that we're putting in. You have a couple of bearings in here that you might as well replace while you're in there, unless you already did and they're brand new, then you can reuse them. Now we have to take off the toe arm, the other turnbuckle. This one is a toe adjustment for your alignment. And then you can take this part out. And then we have the new one here. Alright, so there's one more screw up in here that you may want to adjust your steering a bit to get to. And it's down below on this particular model. And then that arm comes out. Alright, so this is an important step, okay? There's two different length arms here. These bronze colored ones are the old ones, and these blue ones are the new ones. So before you put them back on the car, you're going to want to do your best to get them very similar lengths, because that will help you to not have to make much adjustments when they're back on the car. So this one is pretty decent here, but I'm going to pull this one out a little bit. So what I do on this particular one is I just use some sort of hex and put it in this center hole here, and then I just spin the outer ends until I get it to where I think it's close. And then just check it again with the original one that came off of the car. It's pretty close. I think I'm happy with that there. Now essentially you just have to put everything back together. They did give me a couple of screws, but I'm going to use some of my own here. So you can start in any order. I don't really think it matters. It's all got to go back together. So I did use some Loctite on some of this stuff here, just because, like I said earlier in the video, when you're going metal into metal, you're definitely going to want to have something to stop it from backing out. So the blue Loctite works good. So we're going to put that guy back in. Alright, so it did come with 2 bearings like I was telling you earlier. So we're going to go ahead and just use them and see how it fits. I'm not sure if you're supposed to install the bearing on the axle or into the housing. I'm going to put it in the housing. I think it's going to end up with the same result, but we don't know, I guess, until we get out there and drive it. Alright, so next we're going to put this guy on, caster block, I do believe it's what it's called. So you got to make sure it's in the right orientation. See, there's going to be a cutout for this particular one, at least at the bottom, for that bottom hinge pin to go through. So I mean, if you just look at it, you'll be able to figure it out. But you know, I mean, if you're first time wrenching on these things, just take your time and kind of, you know, look around, and you'll see how they work. And if you somehow do it the wrong way, you can just take it apart and, you know, try again and see how it goes. That's interesting. Maybe I put that in the wrong way. See, you learn. That seems like, no, it can't be the wrong way. I wonder if you have to get a longer pin here. That one doesn't quite seem to cut it. I'll have to look into that. Alright, so then you do have a this brass bushing we're going to put in. And once again, you're going metal into metal, so you're probably going to want to use some Loctite. If not, you'll be having screws falling out all the time. I really don't feel like dealing with that if I don't have to. And then you have another one on the bottom. Same thing, you got a bushing. Use your Loctite. That's where the shoulder screw was that we took out earlier. Once you get everything lined up, it'll fall into place. Alright. I don't like this. I might get a longer pin for that and put it in. Just doesn't seem right. And then the final step is to put your upper arm, your camber arm in, and then you're pretty much done. So the camber pin, you just make sure you do have a few different adjustments here as far as mounting. Just make sure you're matching both sides the same, or else your alignment will be definitely screwed up. So you got the outer one and then the inner one. Okay, so this is the one that's a pain in the ass to reach on this particular truck. So we're gonna see how this goes. It's probably gonna piss me off, but what are you gonna do? Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Coming soon is going to be a couple of drag slashes. Me and Dave are both making one, so we'll see who's faster. We'll see. Thanks for watching.